Hi guys, you're welcome to my channel. My name is Adiju Motoib Akobi and I'm going to be your instructor in today's class. Absolutely. I'm going to be teaching you how to separate skin texture and skin tone without using frequency separation. I know you are going to be surprised and wonder how. Just stay tuned. In this video, I'm going to touch this video from beginning till end, and I'm going to cover how to remove blemishes. I'm going to cover how to separate the skin texture and the skin tone without using frequency separation. I'm going to cover how to remove eye bag, and at the same time, I'm going to cover how to do your color grading in a very simple way. And lastly, I'm going to teach you how to do teeth whitening and eye whitening. So without wasting much of our time, don't forget to subscribe to this channel, like the video if you find it useful, drop your comment and share your opinion about the class. And lastly, don't forget to share about the video within your friends. And let's get started now. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is to duplicate the layer. And why am I duplicating the layer? I'm duplicating the layer so that if there is any mistake, it will be very easy for me to start all over instead of me going back to go and look for the image and drag it into Photoshop. So I'll be able to delete what I've done and start all over again. And that's why I have to duplicate the layer. So the first thing I want to do right now is to remove the blemishes. And if you look at this picture, you guys to see that there is no much blemishes on it, but we have a lot of skin problem here. So the skin is quite irregular. So don't worry, we get everything fixed. All right. So come to your patch 2, then you just circle this particular one, and so you circle it and then drag it to a space that is clean, that is the place that you want to use to cover this particular one. So let's remove this one also and cover it with this. At the same time, let's remove this with this. In this also. All right. Okay, so I think this one is also bad. So remove this also. So we'll remove this as well. All right, I think that's just fine. So let's get back to move to. So what's the next thing we want to do? So the next thing we want to do right now is to separate the skin texture and the skin tone. And I know you are curious to see how I'm going to do that. I get you covered. Just click on Ctrl J twice and label this particular one your color layer, and label this one your texture. Just like we have it under the frequency separation. So what am I going to do first? Under the frequency separation, you always apply remove the color first before you remove the texture. But in this one, I'm going to remove the texture before I remove the color. So I'll just come down to my filter and I'm going to order, and the next thing is eye pass. So just leave it as 4.2. It should be maximum of 4.5, but you can leave it as 4.2. It's fine. So just click on OK. Now, what's the next thing? Come down to this point here and change the blend mode to soft light. All right. So once you do this, what's the next thing that you are meant to do? It's very simple. The next thing is that we should go and separate the color, because we have successfully separated the skin texture. So, and the next thing we want to do right now is to select the color. And you can see right here that when I off every other thing there, you can see that the only thing you are seeing here is the skin. So that's to tell you that we have been able to separate the skin. Now let's select the color. So just click on the color and come down to filter, then come down to blur, then you come down to Gaussian blur. Now at this point, I'm going to take this to 0, and what you want to look out for here is reverse of what you are looking out for when you are doing frequency separation. You know, when you are doing frequency separation, you need to increase the slider until you are no longer seeing any skin texture again. Are you getting to understand why? Because you want to extract color. But in this case, you have to what, shift the slider until the skin texture seems balanced. For that reason, I'm going to increase the size of the slider now. And if you look at it now, you get that the image is getting closer to blurry nature. So we don't want that to happen. So adjust it back to something around 2. And I think if you look at this now, this is perfect. Now, why can't you put it at a value that is very high, just like what I have here, let's say like 4? You can see what happened to this face. By the time you start brushing with your mixer brush, the face will be appearing white. I get it, like white particle is falling on the face, which is not something that you want. And that's why I think having it at 2 is just perfect. Now, so once I have this, I think 2 is okay. So click on OK. What's the next thing to do? You can decide to group these two together. So when you group them together, you can label them your anything you want to label it. So let me just label it first. Okay, so if I close this now and I open this, unlike the frequency separation, you definitely see a difference. So for that reason, let's get going. So, and the reason why you're seeing a difference is because we don't completely remove the color. And why don't we do that? You're going to get that as we move on. So click on your mixer brush tool right here, and I think this particular one just give you a liberty to brush the way you like. Okay, but you don't need to be so careful, just like you're going to be careful when you're doing frequency separation. This one you can just brush and brush anyhow. You don't need to be careful of probably the highlight is transferring to shadow or the shadow is transferring to highlight. And that's what is awesome about this particular techniques of photo retouching, so of separating skin and tone rather. So if you look at this now, you guys can see that we are getting the face getting smoother and it's better. And you guys see that both the texture is still there. You don't lose any texture. Yeah, so you can see this now, and this is just pretty much okay. Now the question you want to ask me is that probably, why am I not using frequency separation in doing this? Oh, it's a very nice question, but because the reason why I'm not using frequency separation for this is, number one, I want you to get to know that there are other way of separating what skin and tone and in Photoshop or in photo retouching. Are you getting where I'm coming from? And that's number one thing I want you to know. And number two thing I want you to understand is that if you are using frequency separation for this, there will be need for you to do some other work which might be kind of complex for beginner who is just starting up in photo retouching. And you know what? When you look at beginners who are just starting up in photo retouching, they always want to have a bad image, that is picture that is very, very bad, just like this particular one I'm working on. And they just want to retouch it to be nice so that they can express themselves that they are doing a good job. And that's why I thought of using this particular method and teaching them how to use it. So if you're using frequency separation, there are other work that you need to do, because there will be need for you to work with hue and saturation as you are brushing. And I think if you would like me to make video on how I use frequency separation to retouch this particular image, you can just drop the comment in the comment section. So if I have up to 20 people who request for that in the comment section, absolutely, I'm going to make a video on how to use frequency separation to retouch this particular image. And you get to learn a lot of things about making skin look realistic. That is how to enhance the skin texture. And that is, you know, when you're given an image as a photo, as a retoucher, you are not meant to perfect that image. All you need to do is to do what? Enhance the image. So for you to be able to enhance an image like this using frequency separation, you need to do more work, and I'll be glad to share those work with you. Just let me have up to 20 comments saying they want to see the video, and I will definitely do that. And I think we have a very good result now. So you can see what we have before. So let's check our before and after. So here is the before and here is the after. So you can see, look at it, the skin texture is still there. Although the image is not that sharp, but you can still the skin texture there. So it's not plastic, it's article now. And I think that's awesome. So what's the next thing to do? The next thing we have to do is to come down to the neck part. So we try to balance that also. So just take your time to do your job, and you end up coming up with a very nice result, which is what you are looking for. Okay. Oh, I wish I can go to India now. And I think meeting this particular lady, she'll be glad seeing her picture looking so nice here. All right, guys. So without wasting much of our time, so let's quickly round up this. So, okay. Though I intend to fast forward this place before, but I feel probably you guys might be thinking that no, this guy must have done something else. So, and that's why I just decided to show you this, and you guys to see it's very fast, very fast. What's the disadvantage of this method? If you like to know disadvantage, let me know in the comment section. So I'm going to explain the disadvantage of it for you. And I think this is just awesome. This is cool. So let's check the overall before and after. So this is the before, and here is the after. So cool. All right, so what's the next thing to do right now? The next thing we want to do right now is to remove the eye bag. All right, so we want to remove the eye bag of this particular image, and how I'm going to do that is that I'm going to click on Control Shift Alt E. So now I'm going to create a stamp visible layer. Why am I creating a stamp visible layer? Is that this particular stuff I want to do now, removing the bag, the eye bag. If you do it, I might not like it, you might like it, you know, not everybody like them, especially if it is a male. But I will still make an extensive video on how to remove eye bag, different method of doing such. Especially if it's male, you don't need to remove their eye bag, because it's one of those characteristics that they use to show that they are masculine in nature. But for females, some of them who wants to like hide their age or wants to look them beautiful, they always like removing it. So but why? I'm going to be showing you two ways of doing that here. So if you look at this now, this is the eye bag. It's not really looking nice. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to select my patch tool just like I did before, and I'll click on this. Just select the place where we have the wrinkles, and drag down to a very clean area just like this. And you have removed this, but you know something is odd there. You are still having a dark something there. Don't worry, we are going to remove that later. So let us just deal with the eye back. Let's remove the wrinkle first. All right, so we have been able to do that. So look at the before and look at the after. So we have all this black stuff here. I think this is a line here. We don't want this line to be there, so just take it down here. Yeah, I think this is awesome now. So we have some dark stuff there, and we don't want those dark things to be there. So how do we do that? Just come down to your clone stamp tool, then sample a very clean area here. Click on Alt and sample it. So once you sample it like that, make sure that your blend mode is not on normal but on lightning. So you just do what? Just brush this area like this. The area that is dark before, you just brush it like this, and I think you are good to go. Yeah, sorry, I think something is going wrong there. Okay, so just take it like this. All right, and I think this is just cool. Okay, since this place is still dark, I'm not liking the result. I think I'm over brushing that place. Okay, let me just take it like this now. Okay, let me reduce the brush size. So that's one paint we are going to paint. Yeah, I think this is pretty much okay now. So we have been able to paint out the black part of this place. Not liking the result I'm seeing there. Okay. Okay, so click on Alt, sample this place again, and clean this place. Yeah, I think this is just nice. Yeah, so we have been able to remove the black blemishes there. Yeah. Okay, now I just think this is cool now. No, it's making the image look disfigured. So I don't want that to happen. So I think this is fine. Let's just brush this out. This, yeah. So you come here also, you sample this, and you just brush here. Okay. Yeah, and I think we have a good job there. So this is the before, and here is the after. Before and then after. So what's the next thing to do? Okay, I'm looking at something here. I don't know if you're seeing what I'm seeing. So this is fine. Okay, so we're good to go now. What's the next thing to do right here after we have removed the eye back? The next thing to do is to do the teeth whitening. So let's do the teeth whitening once and for all. So we come down here and create the contrast. Now, there are different way of doing teeth whitening. Absolutely different way of doing it. I'm going to teach you one method now, and subsequently we might be looking at another method of doing it. But I think this method is just awesome, and that's what I want to show you. Now, we have two type of teeth: teeth that is yellow and teeth that is brown. But all teeth wants to be white. Are you getting that idea now? All teeth wants to be white, but you might have yellow teeth, you might have brownish teeth. This particular method will take care of either it is yellow skin, either it is white teeth, either it is brownish teeth. This will work for any form of teeth that you are going to have, and I want you to pay maximum attention. So the first thing is that I'll come down to the brightness and contrast. And how do I get there? I click on the adjustment layer and I select what brightness and contrast. So what I'm going to do, because I want to brighten the teeth, so I'm going to increase the brightness. Don't worry, I know it's affecting, so let's just leave it somewhere here. I know it's affecting the picture overall, so don't care about that. Just go on. So the next thing wants to do is to click on your hue and saturation, and under the hue and saturation you want to focus on two color, because it is two color that always brings about teeth defect. That is the red color and the yellow color. When you have much red color in a teeth, that teeth will tend to appear brownish. Are you getting this now? And when you have more yellow, of course you get to see that it's going to be yellow, just like my teeth. Okay, so come down to this place and come down to the red channel, reduce the saturation. All right, so increase the lightness. So any point of your choice, then come down to yellow also. You do the same thing, reduce the saturation, increase the lightness. I send it now. So you can just put it on any value you want. You can always control the intensity of it using the opacity, and that's why I don't care about the slider. So you might not also clear. Is that taken out? So you don't need to cram anything in my class. Always understand everything. So what's the next thing we are going to do? Let us balance the color. And for us to be able to balance the color, let us add a little bit of cyan, maybe around -7, and let's remove, when you're adding cyan, you are removing what? Red. Are you getting this now? And by the time you are adding, let's just move closer. By the time you are moving closer to blue, you are also doing what? You are removing what? Yellow. So that's why we have +7 and -7. You can choose any value you want. Of course, I've said it earlier, you can always control whatever happens with your what? Your opacity. So let us collapse this tab, then come down to this place again, which is going to be the last layer. The first layer is that you are going to create brightness and contrast. The second one is your hue and saturation. The third one is your color balance, and the last one is what? Remind me, that will be photo filter. So just come down to your photo filter and click on cool filter 82. So click on it and you have this. So all of these now you have four. So just click on your shift and click on the last one. Then you select everything in between, click on Ctrl G, and then you can name this one very awesome, teeth whitening. Teeth and eye whitening. All right, so that is what you have there. So this has disfigured our image. This is not what we intend to have. It's fine, we can easily hide everything. Just click on your layer mask, so, and click on Control I. So you can see we have our picture back. So what am I going to do next? Of course, when you see the black now, it shows that everything is hide. So let's pick our brush tool, the normal brush tool. Make sure your foreground color is white, and we're only going to reveal the teeth part. You can see now our teeth is getting to white now. Wow. Okay, so, and I think you can zoom out to see what I'm doing. So just take your time and paint the teeth. Don't let it go outside the teeth. So let it be within the teeth, just like this. All right, absolutely. This is just getting better. So let's reduce the size of the brush a bit. To reduce the size of the brush, you just click on the left bracket button on your keyboard. I think that's a very great shortcut for you. So just pay attention to detail. So because the damp part of the teeth, you also need to take care of that. Although it's insignificant, but some people will look at your job to the point and want it to be realistic as much as possible rather. Sorry. Okay, right now we have this. Okay, now let me paint the eye also before I do the final justice to everything, because if you look at what I'm seeing right here, it's not looking realistic. Yeah, I want it to be realistic as much as possible. You are going to agree with me that there's no way somebody's eyes can be as this white or somebody's teeth can be as this white. Okay, so we have nothing to fear about. Our opacity can easily take care of that. Yeah. All right, so what's the next thing to do right now? If you look at what we have here, this is not looking nice at all. So just reduce the opacity drastically. Right, I can keep it to be around 50. I think this is okay now. Let me try check the blend mode screen and see what is going to happen. Oh, not working. So I just leave it here. So I just want to try something new before. Okay, and I think this is just fine now. So it's looking real now. So look at the before of the teeth, and this is the after. So it's looking nice now. All right. So what's the next thing to do? Let us try as much as we can to improve our makeup. Though I failed to mention that while I was talking about things that we're going to do in the class. That is okay. Let me just create a new adjustment layer, and that new adjustment layer, what I'm going to do right here is that I'm going to click on what's it called? I'll just select the lip. Okay. Okay. So sorry. All right. Select the lip now. Click on Alt to just take it down a bit so that it's not going to go above where we want to perfect. I'm going to see a very simple way in which I'm going to like complement our radio, our makeup now. Okay. Okay. All right. Okay, so let me just take this one up a bit like this. Reduce the size of this. So you can just take your time to just make sure you have a perfect selection. All right. So what I'm going to do next is that I'm just going to control, sorry, let me just click on my hue adjustment layer. So I'm not going to be using this empty layer again. I felt there's no need for that. So click on this and select this red here. So when you select the red, increase the saturation of it. It's too much. Okay, let me just have this like this. So it's not looking nice, right? So let's change the blend mode to something like soft light. Yeah, we can reduce the opacity. Yeah, because what we want to do is just to complement what we have there. Yeah, so let me just clean all these extras. So zoom out and let's clean the extras. You don't want it here. You don't want it here. You don't want it here. And I think this is just okay. Awesome. So we have something nice now. Look at the before and look at the after. So it's just smooth. So what's the last thing we want to do? The last thing we want to do right now is to color grade this image. So I'm going to create another stamp visible layer, which is going to be the last one I'm going to create. I'm going to click on my good friend, and that is the curve adjustment layer. So, and I'll click on the center one twice, just like what I taught you guys in the previous tutorial, but this one is just quite different. I want to just get a simple color tone. That's the tone of this particular image. I don't want to take you guys too much, so just click on this. Now you can see it's selecting white. Why? It's going to select white because we are selecting the mark. So select what this now and double click on this. So what you want to do next is just to sample this particular mid-tone. Then you can come here and reduce the saturation a bit, because I feel it might be too much on it. So click on OK. No, and you can sample any part of the face. Can you see what the color changed to? Can you see what we have there? So you can just like move around and see what is okay for you. But I think this is fine for me. And it seems it's too reddish, so I'll reduce the opacity. Yeah, just reduce the opacity. I feel it complements the image better. Okay, and I think this is just awesome. So this is cool, and this is going to be the end of the tutorial. So let me just know what you feel about the class in the comment section below, why you also give it a trial. So meet you in the next class. Thank you.